set. You didn't use the smacker.
I don't say. Take one.
Ready? Take one. Alright, let's get it started. Alright, hello and welcome. Today we are going to go over traditions of men. Are we going to do the traditions of men? Are we going to do the traditions of our family? Are we just going to do the traditions of what we want to do? Right? Many times we find ourselves doing traditions, and it's real easy for Torah keepers, Sabbath keepers. It's almost pretty easy once you get going to say, oh yeah, well, I don't do, the pagan bunny day. I don't do December 25th. I don't. And it's real easy once we get past that, and it's real easy through the year to say them kind of things, right? Throughout the year, it's like, oh yeah, I don't celebrate that until November comes around, till December comes around, and then, well, if I kind of sit around the table with my family, I can teach them, right? They're going to learn, I can tell them about the Sabbath. So now we start taking that tradition and we start saying what? I can teach someone, I can be there, I can participate because I'm helping them. It's kind of the same thing as going to Sunday church once you learn the Sabbath day. Well, if I go and help them people, if I go and teach them people, if I go and tell them people, and what happens out of that for most people, for those who have tried it, those of us who thought they was going to go back and change the world and tell everybody at the church that the truth is the Sabbath and let's all go next Saturday, let's have church, and how many follow? Maybe one comes and sees what you're about. Maybe one will come but usually the pastor, the preacher, and everybody says you need to leave because we don't want that here. There's a reason why people are doing what they do. We have to understand that. We have to get that down, that they're there for a reason. And the same thing with Sabbath, Torah keepers, Shalom assemblies, whatever they call themselves, they're doing that for their reasons too. And I would submit to you, sadly, most of them are doing it because they miss Sunday church. They're doing it because they love the structure of Sunday church. They love the people of Sunday church. They love being Baptist. They love being a part and participate in something, right? Now, wait a minute. Now, we don't do this because, let's read the scriptures. Mark 7 and 8. You ignore God's law and substitute your own tradition, right? You leave the commandment of Elohim and hold to the tradition of men. This is what's happening in a lot of places. We don't have biblical proof. We don't need biblical proof because many people are doing the same thing they did in church. They're taking and going and doing it on the Sabbath day, right? Okay, it's a Sabbath day, but I'm still going to take out the trash. I'm still going to stop and buy donuts. I'm still going to stop and buy this. I'm still going to do these things that it says not to do on the Sabbath. Even traveling, right? Did you have to buy gas? Did you buy coffee? Did you buy drink on the way there? Did you buy breakfast? See, we can't nullify the commandments because of what we want to do. But in many cases, that's what goes on. And in many of these places, they're not being taught anything. Right? It's the same structure of Sunday church. It's just a different day. So now you have the Sabbath day. And now you're doing basically the same things you did on Sunday. Right? That's why it looks, feels, tastes the same as the other almost. And you almost get the same thing out of it. So we have to have biblical proof, right? The subject for today is there has to be the biblical proof. Matthew 15, 7 through 9. Hypocrites, well did Isaiah prophesy about you, saying, these people draw near to me with their mouth and honor me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. And vain they worship me, and in vain they worship me, teaching as doctrines the commandments of men. You must be here on the Sabbath day. This is your home. You must be here on this day. You must do it this way. Starting to sound a lot like what? Church, right? Starting to sound a lot like Sunday. If you're not here on Sunday, well, you can go anywhere you want, but you know, the same guilt trips, the same things we seen, the same things we heard, the exact same things, it's passed over. Why? Because most people who come out of that don't get taught. Right? All these people, I don't need a teacher, I don't need this, I don't need that. Yes, you do. If you're out there and you're not a teacher, and even being a teacher, you should be striving to learn. You should be striving to have someone, right? I would love to go somewhere, sit down and listen to a good teaching. I would love to go sit in a building or outside or Sukkot or somewhere and hear a good sound doctrine teaching. Love it. What's wrong with us that we don't? What's inside of us that makes us think that we don't need a teacher? We are just self-taught. We all know that doesn't work out very good, right? We all know that if you are not taught, and you don't have to go to college, right? You don't have to go and be taught for years how to fix a car. But in most things it helps because they have the technology, they have the computers, they have the things you need. But you can do the same thing on the job training, but guess what? There's still another man, there's still another person, there's still someone teaching you how to fix the car, right? If you know how to fix a car, it's probably because someone in your family, someone around you taught you how to fix the car. So it's not picking up a tradition, it's picking up what works. And in this case, it's picking up the facts of what the Creator, Yahweh, says, right? Now, if we don't do this, then we only have ourselves to blame. Mark 7:3-9. The Pharisees and all the Jews do not eat unless they give their hands a ceremonial washing, holding to the tradition of the elders. When they come from the marketplace, they do not eat unless they wash. Sound like today? Isn't it amazing that the same things that they was doing 2,000 years ago, plus, the same things we're doing today? You go into Walmart, wash your hands, wash your hands. Hear it on the TV, you hear it here and there. Oh, wash your hands. It will cure what? What does it cure? What does it fix? If you're on a fireball going to hell, what does it matter if I wash my hands? What do I care if I wash my hands? What do I care if I get sick? What does that matter if you don't know anything? If you're not doing anything, what does it matter? What does it help? You see what goes on? We're doing the same terrible things that we did 2,000 years ago. The same traditions are being put in front of us. What's sad, in most cases, we have the same thing from the garden. The exact same thing, do we not? Sound doctrine, not traditions. But in vain do they worship me, teaching as doctrines the precepts of men. Titus 2:1. Speak the things which are fitting for sound doctrine. We are commanded to have correct doctrine. The traditions of men are of no use if not biblical. We are no longer to be carried away by every wind and doctrine of spirit. Ephesians 4:14. Right? Now this sounds great. And we love to pick up our hammer and say, there you go. There's your Christmas story. There you go. There is your Easter bunny. There you go. Right? We love to pound that out and say how pagan that is. But can we dig a little bit deeper? Can we go a little bit further? Can we really study to prove ourselves worthy? Can we really do what the scripture says to do? Or are we just going to do what the church is doing? Let's go a little further. So the Pharisees and teachers of the law asked Yeshua, why don't your disciples live according to the tradition of the elders, instead of eating their food with defiled hands? Why don't you just put on your mask? Why don't you just do what everybody else does? Why don't you just wear the ripped jeans? Why don't you just have earrings? Why don't you have your body hanging out? Why don't you just do what everybody else does?